Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, I wanted to start my vlog earlier this evening. I have not taken a nap tonight. It is 2:28 a.m. And my plan was to get out here at like 11 p.m. And then I started watching this documentary, and I was talking to Alex once. He was watching the series finale of, what do you call it? How to Get Away with Murder, which I used to watch. And so I haven't watched it for a ton of seasons though. So when it was over, I was talking to him, and then he was going to bed, but he was playing his game because he's completely obsessed with that game, Township. And then I came out here to vlog like an hour ago, okay? And I just started looking at all of this stupid random stuff. And then I remembered that it was Melissa's birthday. And so I wanted to post this thing for her on Facebook. Today, Friday, it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Melissa. And sweet Melissa. So I was like looking for this video forever. And it was like she and I like lip syncing to the Sia song Chandelier. And it's like one of her favorite things ever. And I don't know where it is. I had it on my phone at one point. I don't know, I must have deleted it. But it's like real funny because like we're sitting in the car, and then I'm like, we like turned, it's just real funny. But anyway, I couldn't find the video anywhere. Do you ever like look for something forever? Well, if you watch my vlog, you know I do that all the time. So this is literally, you guys, like my third or fourth Diet Coke today. Ah! And I don't care. So I couldn't find the video. Then I was like, well, I want to have a good picture of Melissa and I together to post on her, you know, it doesn't matter really, it's stupid, but anyway, but I wanted one. And so I also thought that I had a video of her and Alex dancing at Ultra last year, but I must have deleted all that too. Like, you know, I would send it to them because then they'd be like, send it to me, send it to me, send it. So I'd send it to the two of them after I like recorded them dancing together, and then I must have deleted it or something. I don't know. I'm constantly going in and deleting stuff off my phone. I have no idea why. I have so much space on there, I should just keep it. But anyway, so I couldn't find any videos of her, and then I couldn't find a picture. I thought there was a picture of that, like Alex and Jason and Melissa and I. Oh, damn it. There is a picture of us on the boat going to Ultra. And, but I totally forgot about that. Well, anyway, I posted a picture of she and I at Rev last year, which was that fundraiser before the race. And she's got this long black dress on, and it had like this chain around the neck. It was really, really cool. And then she had this long coat on that was like faux feathers, but it looked like it was fur almost. It was crazy. And it was this real long coat that kind of like draped over her shoulders. It was really cool. And so it's this really great picture. Here, I'll show it to you. I just posted it. So this was the picture. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. Oh, shoot. I just had it. Okay. So this is the picture of Melissa and I. Can you see it? It's a really great picture of she and I last year at Rev. Love that picture of us. So anyway, I posted that picture. God, I thought I was heavy there, and I was, and I'm like so much heavier now. Come on now. Focus. I thought I had figured out how to do this thing, and now it's not doing it anymore. Come on, focus. Don't make me stop it so early in the video. I don't want to do this. Sometimes if I do this, it'll like bring it over. See, well, you can't. I'm like talking to you as if you can see it. There's like this stupid thing. There it goes. Okay. Up there, it found my face. Is it gonna focus on it? Okay, the box is around my face again. It's like this box, and it like travels all over the camera, and so you can like, you're supposed to be able to pull it up. But anyway, so I was doing that, and then I just sat out here, and I was like, just going through stuff, looking at the stupidest stuff. I don't even know what. It's kind of hot out here tonight. It says it's 63 degrees. It was supposed to be 80 today. I don't think it ever reached 80. I think it reached like 70 maybe. It rained the majority of the day. So this was the thing. Hold on a second here. I woke up and, well, last night before I went to bed, it says 77 tonight, but it's 63 right now. It's not going to hit 77 tonight. And then tomorrow it's supposed to be 73 and 80% chance of rain. So I guess it's going to rain all day tomorrow. What part of tomorrow is it going to rain? Thunderstorms likely, high 73. And then Saturday is supposed to be isolated thunderstorms, 77. Sunday, 80. We're supposed to have thunderstorms all weekend long, basically. Which is fine, but you can't really, like, you know, go out and do anything. Like, walk around the yard. And I was trying to, like, well, we'll get to the squirrel table in just a second. But, so anyway, my plan was to vlog early and have it done and go to bed early. I'm having such a hard time going to sleep. Like, I'm really, really struggling going to sleep. I don't know what the light is doing right now. It's, like, driving me crazy. I don't know if I'm too close or something. I think I am a little closer than I usually am. I'm going to back up and see if that helps with the light. I don't think it probably will, but now that's, like, right in my side eye over here. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I was going to turn on the air. Turn on the vented seat. See if that helps first. So, I'm having a really, really difficult time falling asleep. I'm just not falling asleep. And last night, I downloaded this app. So, I wanted to get an app. I used to have one on my iPad. And, it was like, you could pick, like, all the different sounds. So, you could have, like, rain sounds, like a river. Like, you could do, like, rain, a street. You could do a river, too, if you wanted to, I guess. Oh, that feels so good. It's cooling off the car a little bit. And then you could do, like, bells, like wind chimes. And my darling Jolene Joe she's, like, sticking up earlier, like, right before I started. And I had to, like, push her down. But anyway, and I loved this app that I had on my iPad. It was like I had like a first generation iPad. So it was like the very first one ever. It was years ago. And of course the app was like, you paid like $2.99 for it, but then you owned it. These apps, you guys, are ridiculous. Like, people have told me to try Calm, like that app Calm. So I looked at it. Okay, it's a 7-day free trial and then it's $60 for a year. I think that's kind of outrageous. So I was like, I don't know about this. I want a free app that just has like sound, you know, like, that I can listen to. So I finally found this app. I don't want to say much about it until I try it out a couple nights. Last night I did like one 14-minute meditation, and you can pick like the sounds in the background. So I did like wind, and then it had music that it played, and then it was like this woman, and she was like, you could have a male voice or a female voice. And I'll just tell you what the app is called. It's like, no, I was gonna wait, and if I really liked it, tell you about it, or if I didn't, give you guys an honest review on it. But the app is called Relax Melodies. So you go in, and it's like 5 nights of relaxation or something like that. You can make your mix. Your first... I haven't even made a mix yet. What? See all mixes. I don't understand what this is. Eternal Beach. City Rain. So it has all these things. Or you can go in here and you can make them yourself, I think. I think there's a way to do it. Composer. Oh, there is. So this is very similar to the one that I had. So when you go on here, it's like this, see? And then you can go underneath here, and there's all these different ones. There's like ocean, birds, night, vinyl crackle, river. I was like, is it playing right now? River, birds. And then you can set it for how long you want it. You have to buy some of the other ones that are more expensive. And then they have ASMR ones too. Oh, those are... Vinyl Crackle is the only one. I guess you have to buy them. So, like, if you want to buy Raindrops... Oh, see? This is another one. $59.99 for a year. Cancel anytime. Start 7-day free trial. I just think that $59 is a lot for one of these. I guess maybe I'll just pick one and stick with it. Because basically all you can do is make real basic ones. Whatever. But I went in last night and I listened to this meditation. It was called Dropping the Present Moment. It was 15 minutes. It really, really did help me relax. And I put my big headphones on, my Sony headphones. But it's uncomfortable for me to sleep like that. Like, I can't sleep with these headphones on. And I even, I remember back in the day when I had this other pair of big headphones, these Philips headphones that we got from Ultra. They're actually the official headphones that Armin van Buuren uses, and he came out with them. And so like one side of the headphones said Ultra, what, 2016 or 17 or something, and then the other side said Armin van Buuren on them. And we went to like this private like listening party, and there was like 100 people, 50 people there, and we got invited to go. It was really cool. Alex was really excited. We were literally like, I could touch Armin van Buuren, and that's how close we were to it. Actually, this is so funny because I was just looking through these videos, and that was one of the videos that I found on my phone. It's like one of the oldest videos. I think it's actually on my Facebook. You guys are like, Peter, we really don't care. But now that I'm talking about it, I want to go and look and see if that's like on my phone or... No, that was on my... oh, these videos of Pee-Pee. Little guy. It was on my Facebook. And, photos, videos. Yeah, it was like, I just literally just opened it because I was like, is this, when we were at Ultra with Melissa and Jason, but it wasn't. Where is it now? I literally just had it. Was it the first year that we went, or was it the second year that we went? Here it is. So here's Armin van Buuren. That's how close I was to him at this viewing party. It was crazy. I was in this little restaurant bar that had this outside seating area. I actually met this really nice guy there, and his wife had just had a baby, and Alex was like all around talking to everybody, and this guy was like a reporter, and he had gotten this freelance job to do like Winter Music Conference. And I remember he and I sat out there because they had like free appetizers, free drinks. It was this very, very like bougie restaurant, you know, and I was like, I don't care, I just wanted to be. I remember I wore these really uncomfortable shoes, which I'm sure surprises nobody. And we had to walk like 10 blocks. And so I think like that was the first year that we went that we actually drove down there. Yeah, because we went to Fort Lauderdale first and we stayed at the W. Because I really, really wanted to stay at the Fort Lauderdale W. I love the W Hotel, and I really wanted to stay. And it was such... And so we actually, on the way down, I was like, we're just going to pick a hotel on the way down. I'm not going to pre-book it. This was actually very smart as far as prices. I was like, because we were leaving on like a Tuesday night, and we were going to get in on like a Wednesday. And I said, I am not going to pre-book this room. I'm going to wait and see what kind of deals come up 24 hours, like the day of, right? And see if we can get really cheap rates. And we did. We got super cheap rates for the W for 2 nights in Fort Lauderdale. I hated the hotel. It just, the people that worked there at that time were very, very rude. It just was not a good hotel. I just was not impressed with the hotel. So we were there like 2 nights, I think, and then we went to Miami. So we had our car, so we weren't driving anywhere unless we were driving to Ultra for the day, because we didn't want to take our car, you know, out, because it was like, you have to put it back in, and driving around Miami and all that kind of stuff. So we literally walked everywhere, which you can do in South Beach. And, do I still have the heat on in here? No, I have it turned off. I was like, it is hot in here. Maybe I'll turn. I just heard a car door close. I'm gonna turn the air on for a little bit. It's gonna get cold in here real quick, and then I'll be complaining about it being cold. But anyway, so we walked. I don't remember what shoes I wore, but I remember Alex told me you have to like dress nice because this is like a club in Miami and you won't be able to get in otherwise. And it wasn't really a club. It was like a restaurant bar. It was very much kind of like, you know how you see like Sir on like Vanderpump Rules or the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and stuff like that, you know, like how it turns into like a bar at night, and they have DJs and stuff. It was similar to that. Like there was like a restaurant, and then there was like this garden that was like, you like walked into the restaurant and then it had an outside garden with inside the restaurant. Do you know what I mean? Like where you could sit outside, but it was like all like, the walls were 20 feet high or 30 feet high or whatever. It was this enclosed garden. It was very cool. Right off the, like, Collins Boulevard. Actually, when we were there last time, we were walking by it with Melissa and Jason, and I said, Alex, what happened to that bar restaurant that we went to? Because it was really cool. The whole setup of inside was very cool, and he said, oh, that closed, like, the next year. I was like, oh, it did? Okay. So, Alex was, like, talking to all of these, like, promoters and stuff, because he knew, oh, I forgot, that was the year that Alex did a lot with Dim Mak. So Alex worked really, really closely with Dim Mak, who is Steve Aoki's, like, recording company, recording company or whatever they are, but they, like, have, like, a lot of, like, musicians underneath them. And so I feel like I hear something out here, like somebody walking or a door closing or something. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. So he helped host a party at the National, which is a hotel down there. And then, like, we interviewed for the website that year all of these different DJs and stuff. There's these one DJs, I wish I could remember who they were, but they did like a lot of like, they would take like Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker. I'm just using this as an example because I was actually listening to it today. But they took like a lot of like folk and country kind of music, like Americana kind of music, and they spun it into like these great like DJ mixes. And we interviewed them. They were really cool. It was these two guys that were like real like best friends or something. But that party, I hated that party. And I'll tell you what's really funny about this, though, is that we went, and Marshmello, I don't know why was there, because I don't think that Marshmello at the time was on Dim Mak's recording label. But if you've heard of Marshmello, Marshmello's huge now, right? And I actually had a friend that was like, if Marshmello's down at Ultra, you should check him out, because he's going to be the next big thing, right? Marshmello wears this huge, like, marshmallow head thing. He doesn't wear it as much anymore, but... So, I mean, he does, but he takes it off and stuff. So anyway, nobody knew who he was. It was this big deal. Well, I remember he played like a set at this national pool party, and it was like sad. Like 20 people were dancing. There was like nobody dancing to this. And then Steve Aoki came out and he did some stuff, but it was like supposed to be like this huge pool party, and it kind of turned out to be like a buzzkill a little bit. Like, but I just kind of like laid out by the pool while Alex was doing all this kind of stuff, and then we interviewed these guys. So we got to do a lot of really fun stuff because we got down there early that year. We might have got down there earlier than that. We might have come into Fort Lauderdale the weekend before and then come into Miami like Tuesday, because Winter Music Conference also goes on the same time as Ultra. So there's a lot of producers and managers and all these, you know, production companies. They like throw these huge parties and like, you know, these pool parties and stuff like that that you can pay to get into or whatever. And I think it was a good experience for Alex because he had really wanted to do that for a long time. He wanted to promote these huge parties, and I think he realized very quickly that that's not what he wanted to do. Like, he still has interest in it, and he helps out with promoting certain parties and stuff like that, but I think, like, he realized to, like, be on the road, like, for 6 months doing this, like, that he wouldn't want that, you know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. He just seemed like, I can remember him saying it was a lot of work, that he didn't realize it was. But we got to go to a lot of really fun stuff, and so we went to that party for Armin van Buuren. It was like, he was coming out with these new headphones. We each got a pair. Like, they gave each of us a pair when we walked out. Like, Alex and I each. I mean, they were like $300 headphones. And I still have them inside. Like, I still use them. And they're like soundproof, so when you have them on, you can't like hear anything else, you know? And like recording headphones. But I remember I sat and I talked to this guy forever because my feet were killing me. So I literally sat in this garden area. I went and got some food, and I like sat there. It like takes a lot to, like, I like to see stuff like that. Like, I think it's really, really cool. But as far as like, you know, schmoozing with the folks, like, it takes a lot. I don't really care. Like, I'm not super impressed by all that. I mean, I just don't care, you know what I mean? And half the time I don't even know who I'm talking to. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me when they're like, oh, I'm so, you know what I mean? Like, I could be, well, this is actually a funny story. So, for the Super Bowl, no, this was before the Super Bowl. This was before the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. Because I used to go out a lot, right? So, there is this bar downtown Indianapolis called Revel. But I was standing at the bar, and I was so tired. So, here's my thing, right? So, I get out, and then my feet start hurting, and then I'm bored because I don't drink and I don't want to talk to anybody like for hours. I mean, I'll talk to people, right? But like to sit there and have the same kind of conversation over and over, I mean, I just don't care. You know what I mean? So I was standing by the bar, which is close to kind of like the exit and the entrance, and there was this girl standing next to me. She's a gorgeous girl, right? She was real short. She was like probably like 5 foot, you know, and she had heels on, and she was real short, and she just had real, like, her hair was just kind of like real natural, like parted down the middle, and like, I mean, it was like she curled it, you know, but it was just like kind of like blown back, almost kind of like Farrah Fawcett-esque, you know, like dark brown hair. I've told this story on here before. And she was just standing there, and she had on like, you know, some kind of like silk top, and it was tucked into some jeans and heels on, and she had like a purse on her shoulder or on her, you know, arm. And I had no clue who she was. I'd never seen her before, right? And so I was waiting for Alex. I just was kind of standing there, and she just kind of looked at me, and she kind of like smiled, and I was like, hey, and she was like, hey. I don't remember now. I think maybe I feel like she wasn't rude. I feel like she was real nice, actually. I don't remember. But so I said to her, I said, you're really pretty. And she was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, she was real nice. She was real nice. And then she stood there for a second, and then she left with somebody. And Alex literally came up like a second later, and I said, and it's so funny because she looks like a friend of ours. Like, she looks like a lot like a friend of ours that lives in Las Vegas. And I said, oh my God. I said, did you see that girl? I said, she looks just like ... right? And he goes, do you know who you were talking to? And I go, no. And he goes, you're talking to JWoww. And I go, what? I go, from Jersey Shore, JWoww? And he goes, yeah. And I go, no, I've seen her. That wasn't her. She's the girl I was talking to is, no offense to JWoww, but I was like, you know, she's always very much done up and whatever. I said that girl I was talking to is much prettier than her, and much more natural looking. And because I am somebody like, which you probably would think this is funny, watching all of the makeup videos and stuff like that, but I do kind of like more of a natural, like, I like makeup, don't get me wrong, I love makeup and lipstick and all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm a little bit more of I'm not talking no makeup, like, you know, but I'm like more of a more natural look, you know, maybe a smoky eye and a dark red lipstick, you know, just like that kind of thing, you know? Like that movie, Gia. Oh my God, that movie is so tragic, isn't it? But, you know, like her. And I was like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, we had a, why was I telling that story? What got me there to tell that story? I can't think back. I'm like wiggling my toes to think back on why I was telling that story about seeing her out. What else was I talking about? Shoot, I can't remember anything. I don't know. I was talking about the thing about, I was talking about I don't like to stand in bars for long, right? Okay. So we're at this bar place, and I was saying some names. I'll leave JWoww's name in there, but I might have to edit out the other name. So I'm looking at the time right now, because I should probably just edit that part out. I will, just to, you know, not bring some other people into the story that don't need to be there. It doesn't matter. It's somebody local anyway that nobody knows. But anyway, so what was I gonna say? Got sidetracked. So, and then what else? Then I'll totally forget to go in there because I'm killing for forgetting to like put in. Today I was like doing this review of the dogs, and I was this dog box, and I was like, and I'll throw up a picture of them as puppies. Totally forgot to throw up the picture of the dog. I mean, by then it's like an hour later, and I've like forgotten. People always get so mad. They're always like, you forget to put the picture. I'm like, I know. I'm like, here's the receipt. I'm like, there's no receipt, you know. But anyway. So yeah, I was sitting outside and I was talking to this guy, and it was just like, it was real crowded and packed, and everybody was standing, and we were like the only two sitting down, and we were like in the corner. I remember they had these huge like Korean boxwood like trees that were like, but they were like cut or trimmed into like square columns. It was very cool. Does that make sense? Square column, you know, square kind of like deal in the corners. It was beautiful. It was this inside garden kind of thing, and there was like this, they have, you know, like the koi fish or whatever you call that, big goldfish, you know, in this pond. I was just sitting there. It was real nice, and they had the music blasting, loungy music, you know. And so I started talking to this guy, and he's like, he had no idea about, he didn't know who Armin van Buuren was, and he was probably 10 years younger than me at the time. So if I was like 42, he was probably 32, 35, and he didn't know who any of these people were. He didn't know anything about Ultra Music Festival. He and his wife had just moved there from somewhere, I can't remember where, for her job, and they had just had a baby, and he was writing an article, and he had like, was doing freelance for some like Miami Herald or something, I don't know, and it was some kind of legit newspaper down there though, and he had gotten the job of doing like all of these music festival things. Well, he didn't know anything about these people, right? And so it was like all new to him, and I remember we just sat there, we had like a good conversation, we talked about books and all kinds of stuff. It seems so crazy to me. I feel like I meet just like the most random people ever. I remember, this is kind of a funny but kind of a sad, I mean, it's not funny, but it's just kind of funny because I was so clueless. But it's kind of a sad story too, I guess. I don't know if I was on YouTube at the time, or if I was vlogging at the time, but Alex and I, no, we wouldn't have been, because I think it was his senior year in college. It's real cold in here now. Alex wanted to go to Tomorrowworld, which was it was like around Chattanooga, Tennessee, but it's real close to Atlanta. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes to Atlanta, I think. It was somewhere close to Atlanta. Like, it would make you think it was closer in Tennessee, like it was in Tennessee, but it was closer to Atlanta, if that makes sense, I think, or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, but we stayed in Atlanta for it, and then they shuttled into Tomorrowworld. It ended up becoming a big disaster, and they haven't had it again, and the reason why was because it poured down rain so much, the buses got stuck in, like, on the side. People couldn't even get into the festival. It was horrible. It was this big deal. I don't think they have had it since then. It was like this horrible, horrible deal. Alex was so upset because he wanted to go so bad, and he had gotten media passes for our website, and so he was like, do you want to go? And I said, well, I'll go on the trip, but I don't want to go to the music festival, because like, if it's a music festival where I can sit on a couch at some point and take a rest and have halfway okay bathrooms to go into, listen, I'm not 25 anymore, okay? I'm 47 years old. It's gonna stop. Hold on. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I need to have a place to relax for a moment and have some peace, and you know what I'm saying, right? So like at Ultra you can do that, and some of these other music festivals you can't, but this is like outside in the dirt and and I'm like, no, I'm not standing on my feet for 10 hours. I'm not doing that. I'm too old. Like, you know what, like, I'm not too old, but like, I don't enjoy that the way that I enjoyed outside festivals all day when I was 20 years old. And I know that there are some people my age that enjoy that stuff, and hey, go do it, okay? But I don't. That's not what I enjoy. So I said, I'll just find us a real nice hotel, and then I'll stay in the hotel room, and I'll just, like, watch TV or whatever. And we stayed in this hotel. I don't know what the hotel was. It was downtown Atlanta. It's like real tall and thin, and it has this, they had just remodeled it, and it had this, it was like right around the corner from like Peachtree or something, because I can remember there was this restaurant that I used to go over there and eat when I was there. We were there for like 3 days, and so it had this elevator that went to the top floor. I think they went the first day and everything was fine, and then the second day was when the rain happened, and the third day they didn't go, and we just ended up driving back. So I would go outside, I would take the elevator all the way down from like, it was like the 18th floor. This hotel was gorgeous, it really was. And I would take the hotel all the way down. I remember I was watching this show at the time. I think it was on Netflix, and it was about this college a cappella group, and it was a reality show, and it was called like Sing It or something, and I have no idea. It was really good, and I watched the whole thing. It was like 8 or 10 episodes, and I remember this whole night, like I just sat there and I would watch like 2 episodes, and then I would take the elevator all the way downstairs, and it was like when you drove in to the building, so you would drive inside, like it was covered, it was like this overhang, you know, for the entrance, and you would come this roundabout where they would drop off people, valets, and, you know, parking and things like that. I have never seen in my life, and I have stayed some nice places, okay? I have never in my life seen so many high luxury cars as Atlanta, Georgia. I could not believe it. I was blown away. I mean, at any given time, there would be like, you know, like a Maserati, a Porsche, you know, a Bentley, and like what's it called, a McLaren or McLaren. I mean, it'd be like these, and then these like a Lotus, like these unbelievable cars that just like I couldn't even believe it, you know. So I'm sitting out there, and this girl comes over and she sits down. She starts talking to me, real nice girl, and we're talking. And she's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. And I'm literally in like sweatshorts and a t-shirt, okay? And she's like, can I have a cigarette? Do you mind if I have a cigarette? Because I'm all out. And I said, oh, she had come in from like inside the hotel. And then she like walked down to the curb, and then she came back. And then she like sat down and next to me. And she was like, can I have a cigarette? And I was like, yeah. I feel like I did I don't know. But anyway, we ended up talking for like a half an hour. And she's like telling me about her life and telling me about like how hard her life is and stuff like this, okay? I don't know how long we talked for, but let me just tell you, when I say that she had to spell it out for me that she was a prostitute, I mean, she had to spell it out for me, right? And she wasn't hitting on me. It was nothing like that. She just was like, she was asking me, like, you know, like, we had a real nice conversation, and she's like, you know, like, she was like, you know, this is how I pay my bills. She was like, but I don't know that I want to do this for the rest of my life. It's scary, you know, it's risky, and, you know, every night I go out, my life is on the line, and I was like, I can't imagine, you know, and she was telling me all these stories, and, you know, she was like, I can't remember what she said, but anyway, she was real honest with me. I would have had no clue, right? And so I was sitting there when she was telling me, and I remember we just like had this really kind of sweet connection. Like, she was very nice, and, you know, and so vulnerable and raw, and just coming up to a total stranger, and because I remember at one point I said something to her about being gay, and not into reference to any of that, but just like, I said, well, you know, like, I'm here, you know, like, with my husband, and I'm gay, and she was like, yeah, you know what I mean? But it was just kind of like this kindred spirit moment that the two of us had sitting on this park bench. It was just like such a nice moment, and I wonder what happened to her. Makes you wonder, you know, you meet people for just like a brief second. She talked about how she had danced, you know, like in a strip club, and that she said that once she started escorting, she made more money that way. So she kind of couldn't go back in her head because she was like, it's less money. And she said, but like, you know, I feel like she just was real conflicted. It was sad, you know, I felt bad for her. And she was just so like honest and vulnerable about her story, you know, and I just think it would be so tough. I can't imagine, you know. When I was getting my master's degree in social work, I actually wanted to work with like street prostitutes. Like, that was something that I was like, I can't remember, I'd seen some documentary, I don't remember what it was, and Indianapolis actually has quite a high population of street prostitutes. And I remember I had seen this documentary, and then I read this article that your attitude is that you don't try to, like, as a social worker, you wouldn't try to, like, get them off the street. You meet them where they're at, and you try to, like, meet whatever their needs are. So if they ask you for daycare, for childcare, you help provide that for them as a caseworker. Or, you know, if they need medical checkups or whatever they want is what you do. You meet them where they're at, you know? they might want to stay out there forever. You know, like that might be their goal or their dream. And I remember like having to put together this, because we would, you know, do these internships, these like deep internships. And I remember I put together this like written thing for like how I wanted to do, like there was an outreach program in Indianapolis where they would go and like provide like food and things like that and safety kits and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to work with this outreach program. I'm a real believer in outreach programs anyway. I'm sure that some people probably won't agree with this, but as a former addict in recovery, I'm a big believer in needle exchange programs. You have a better chance of keeping people healthier with needle exchange programs. So, you know, like outreach programs for addiction look like providing food, providing, you know, medical, like if they don't have medical benefits and things like that, helping them get checkups and things like that, and whatever. So I wanted to do this outreach program, which kind of like fell under the umbrella of like the homeless population in Indianapolis, even though like the majority of the prostitutes were not, male and female, were not homeless. The majority of them weren't. But that's where the outreach program fit into. I was told at the time, I still cannot believe this, I was told at the time, and we had a pretty progressive program that was really like pretty, you know, I thought they were intellectual, you know, that there was no need for social workers to work with outreach of prostitutes at the time. I just couldn't believe it. I can't remember what the documentary was that I watched, and so anyway, it's interesting how you meet people for just like a moment, you know, in your life, and then they have some like powerful effect on you. It's interesting, like, so the homeless population is somebody that I was really interested in working with too. And I had seen this movie when I was a kid. I actually have it on DVD in my basement, but I truly do. Actually, I have it on DVD and I have it on VCR tape, and on VCR tape it's at my office, which is so pointless I even have that place. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with it. It's literally just sitting there. I haven't been there. So, I was going to turn it into like a YouTube studio, but that hasn't happened. But I have the VCR tape over there because I have like a TV VCR combo. But I had seen this movie when I was a kid with Lucille Ball. It was a made-for-TV movie, and it was called Stone Soup. And it was about a homeless woman. Lucille Ball played a homeless woman on the streets of, I think it was New York City. And this woman goes undercover to work with her. I can't remember if she's a reporter, or I think she works for like state services or something like that. And she goes undercover as a homeless girl, and she befriends Lucille Ball. And I remember even as a kid seeing it, I ended up like writing a letter to like, my mom was like, well, you should write a, she was, you know, because my mom was real political. She was like, well, you should write a letter to our congressman. And I wrote a letter to our congressman. And I remember like I got a response. I actually do have that in a box in my basement. I know the box in the basement stuff becomes a joke. But I was actually talking to Alex tonight in bed, and I was like, I'm so excited about the patio. I'm gonna get the patio so nice and whatever. And he was like, you said that last year you didn't do anything to the patio. I said, are you kidding me? You got mad, remember? Because I bought so many plants. She said, I don't think we need any more plants out here. He goes, oh yeah, I forgot. I go, well, I'm gonna have water fountains and plants. And I said, I wanna get a water feeder for the birds, like a bird water bath, you know? I found one, it's like, what do you call it? It's got like, you know, tiles on it. It's really cool. And then the squirrels can drink out of it too. And then I said, I want to get some bird houses and stuff. And he's like, you do realize that those birds are going to bring bird poop all over the place and blah, 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 whatever. He was like, why don't you put all this time and energy into that basement? I said, why is it that when I am excited about something like this damn squirrel house, he's sitting there playing this game, you know, I'm like, why is it that when I'm excited about this, that you have to bring up that damn basement? I do need to get it done, though. I do need to get that basement done. But anyway, I have that letter down there. I found it that I'd written this congressman, and then he wrote me back about, or maybe it was the state senator, was Lugar, so I don't know what he was at the point, congressman or whatever, but I was real excited, I can remember as a kid, because I think it was Senator Lugar. I don't know what he was at the time. Oh, shoot. But I was like real obsessed with, like, I wanted to work with homeless people, and I wanted to, like, you know, help them and take food, you know, but like outreach programs and things like that, and I don't know. I think also because, you know, like being sober, I hear so many stories, you know, that just would like break your hearts of people that you look at and they don't look any different than you and I. I mean, addiction doesn't have, you know, a face to it. They don't look any different than you and I. And yet I'll hear like how they'll say because of their addiction they ended up getting kicked out of somewhere or losing their job, and then they had nowhere to live, and then they were living in their car, and then their car stopped working. I'm like biting my tongue because I know specific stories about some horror stories of people, but you know, like, addiction's such a big part of all of it, and I don't know, it breaks my heart. Makes me sad. I wish for every active addict and alcoholic they could experience a week of what my sobriety looks like. You know, the good days. So they could get a taste of it. Because I think, like, had I known that, well, I mean, and that's part of why it's so tough to get sober, you know? But I think had I known that early on, I think it would have made it easier for me to take the first step and get going into treatment and getting sober. It was so terrifying to me because I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know anything about it, you know? And I was terrified about it. And you know, it's interesting talking about this homelessness because, you know, this whole concept of hitting your bottom, you know, people will say you have to hit your bottom before you get sober. I'm not a believer in that, okay? I'm just not. I'm not a believer that you have to hit your bottom to get sober. I can tell you, for me, my bottom is death. I know that. My bottom is death. I chose my bottom. And when I got sober, okay, everybody in my life was so completely done with me. And it really took my dad and a coordinated effort to get everybody that I knew and was friends with to not talk to me anymore. My dad literally called up all of my friends and family and said, if you care about him, do not take his calls. Do not talk to him, you know? And, like, I remember even my friend, the one that I lived with, that she lives in Germany now, like, we used to drink a lot together, and he knew that, right? And I can remember my dad, she called my dad. I don't know how I found out about this. I think she told me this when I was in treatment. This is like the first couple days. My dad would not bring me anything in treatment. He wouldn't, like, he brought me some clothes, and that was it. But, like, my friends brought me everything else. And I remember she called him and she said, you need to go take him some cigarettes and you need to take him some money because he doesn't have any money for, like, you know, the vending machines and stuff like that. And my dad was like, you listen here. I'm not taking him anything, and I'm definitely not taking him anything habit forming, okay? So you figure out if you need to do that, but I'm telling you right now, if you care about my son, if you really care about my son, you'll stop playing these games, and you'll do what's best for him. And I think, and like he went off on her, and I think, like, that was a moment for her where she was like, okay, like, this is really serious. Not to mention, like, everybody in my life knew how serious it was, right? I don't know what is going on. Now my entire windshield is fogged up. I'm, like, blasting the heat. It's not going away. It's on 79 right now. So I have to turn it back on cold? Is that what it is? Silly car. Anyway, here, I'll open this window over here. Then everybody can attack me from both sides. You know, but like, my dad was done. My friends were done. And I think that, like, it didn't take a lot of convincing for my dad to call them and say, you know, if you care about Peter, keep your distance. Because they knew how bad it was. And they had seen all the near-death stuff, right? And so I knew I had nobody's place to go, like, you know, sleep at or stay at. I knew that. My mom wouldn't answer my call. I would call my mom, she'd just hang up the phone. Because my dad told her, he goes, just hang up the phone. Oh, I can't hang up. He said, just hang up the phone because he'll manipulate you into coming and getting him. And that's what he wants you to do, is come and get him out of treatment. Which I tried that for about 4 or 5 days, and then I quit fighting. 3 or 4 days, maybe. With everybody. But I realized very quickly that, you know, I think about this sometimes, like, basically everything was handed to me on a silver platter when I was growing up, you know, and at that point, and I've been very honest about that, and since being sober, that's not the case, you know? But I almost think, like, had that not been the case, so that my dad had that to, like, whip away from me, like, I don't know that I would be here right now. And I don't know if that makes sense, but, like, and I can only share my story, you know? I'm like, it's just my story. I can't go back and take away the fact that I was spoiled rotten when I was, you know? I mean, I can't take that back. Like, I wish I could take that back, but, you know, it's been a really valuable learning experience for me, because I'm not that person today, and, you know, I'm proud of myself for paying all my own bills for the last 25 years of my life and not being dependent upon my father. At times when I see friends of mine that, you know, like, their parents will blank check them, you know, $1,000 or $5,000 for Christmas, I'm like, damn, like, you know, but that's not the relationship that we have, and our relationship isn't about money today, and, you know, I'm very thankful for that, because money was used as a leveraging tool a lot. And, you know, like, if my dad wanted me to do something, like, if he wanted me to, like, get good grades or whatever, you know, like, that was always used. Although, I mean, I'm just using it as an example, but I would never. But anyway, but, like, when I got out of, because I never got good grades, but when I got out of treatment, you know, my dad said to me, I remember, I had this, like, contract, and I had a bunch of these behavior contracts through the years, you know, which is like this treatment tool where it says, like, you will go to so many meetings a week, you will go to aftercare, you will call your sponsor every day, I can call your sponsor whenever I want. It was all these things, right? And my behavior contracts prior to that were always like, and if you don't do this, then this, and if you don't do this, then this, and you know what I mean? And I can remember I looked at this, and I was sitting in the office with my dad and my doctor, who was one of my dad's dearest friends, because my dad had gone to him and he had said, everything I touch in the world turns to gold except for Peter. Like, I have screwed up my son. I don't know what I'm doing. You tell me what to do to fix it. And so he listened to everything, and my doctor was one of the leading addictionologists in the country. I ended up working under him. He was a fantastic guy. And one of the most amazing people that I've ever met in my life. And I remember I got to the bottom, and there was, like, no, like, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, right? And I said, so, oh, and there was no place for me to sign it. And before, there was always, like, a place for me to sign the behavior contract, right? And I said, where do I sign it? And you know, at the time, I was living in an apartment that was provided by my father. My car was totaled, so that was whatever. You know, my dad was providing any bit of money that I had to live on that I wasn't making from dealing drugs, which I was a horrible drug dealer because I was using what I should have been dealing. And I used my home phone. I look back on that and I did such stupid stuff, you know? And, I mean, and this is the era of pagers and things like that. I used my home phone, you know what I mean? Called up somebody. But anyway, I looked at him and I said, where do I sign it? And kind of probably real snotty, like, where do I sign this? He goes, you don't sign it. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you don't sign it. You don't follow it. Leave your keys for the apartment on the counter and get the hell out. I'm done with you. He goes, I'm done. I mean, he was so pissed. He came in one time for treatment and he passed me and he was like going to meet with the doctor and he like passed me and I said something like, and he wouldn't even talk to me. He was so mad. My dad was so angry, and rightfully so, you know. My fear of being homeless, because I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, my stepmother, I found out when I was in treatment that my stepmother had said to my dad, like a month before I went into treatment, she said, you have got to stop this. She said, you are enabling him. She said, you are financing a drug addict and alcoholic. And she said, you have to stop this. And my dad was terrified. And he said, I can't. And she said, why not? And he said, I'm afraid that if I, you know, stop funding him, he'll either start stealing from people or start prostituting or he'll get himself killed somehow, whatever. And she goes, you don't know that he's not doing those things anyway. She said, so, like, you're not, what is this? And, so he was done. Like, he was really, really done. And, I think it was the compassion of my stepmother at the time. I remember she came to a lot of, like, not the family groups, but like the family education pieces that we had. And I remember this one time, and my stepmom's pretty savvy. I mean, she's not stupid, you know? She's pretty with it. And she was asking a question about something, and this guy said, and like, you know, one of the other patients, he said something, lady, something like that. And she said, I will never forget, she was like, don't call me lady. And she said, I'm asking the question because I don't know, and I'm trying to help my son save his life. And she was really, like, a big part. Well, she's the one that admitted me to treatment, first of all. But, you know, if it wasn't for my stepmom, I wouldn't be here right now. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be here right now. I'm so cried out from being emotional the last couple days. I don't know. Usually I'd be bawling right now telling this story, but I'm so thankful to them, you know. And what I'm most thankful for is that my dad was willing to pull everything at the time except for basically food. And this is so, and he did do a lot. He continued to do a lot financially for me. He paid for my rent. And he put, once a week, he would come and he would put groceries in my refrigerator. We would go to the grocery store and he bought me a carton of cigarettes a week. And I think he gave me like $10 in ones for like, no, he didn't even do that, I don't think. Like, but I can remember he gave me like $5 or $10 to have on me for stuff, but I didn't, like, to use for like the donation pile. But I don't even think that at first. I don't even remember. And, but I can remember he was done. And I said, so where do I sign this thing? He goes, you don't sign it. He goes, if you don't want to follow it and you don't go to one of your aftercare meetings or one of your counseling meetings. And I can remember I was like, I didn't have a car. I was like, how am I supposed to get to these things? He's like, I don't know. You figure it out. And all this stuff I had to do that my doctor had come up with, this like really tight aftercare plan. And the only thing I wouldn't do was I wouldn't go into a halfway house. They really suggested that. And there was only one at the time in Indianapolis. One, or I think two. I think there was Talbot House downtown. And then there was one through a hospital here. And I said, I'm not doing that. And I said, I'm not comfortable with that. I said, you know, like, as a gay man, I don't know, whatever. And they, like, kind of let that go. Which, in retrospect, I wish I had done it. Like, so many of my friends that went through halfway houses, like, now, there's a lot of horrible experiences of things that happen in halfway houses, and people use in halfway houses all the time. But my friends that have stayed sober, that lived in halfway houses, they had, like, really good relationships with the people that they lived with. And they, like, I don't know, there's a camaraderie, you know, with those people in early sobriety that I missed out on that. I think it would have been easier for me as a younger person because I think I would have known more people, you know, right away. I always suggest halfway houses when people ask me. I'm like, I think halfway, you know, if you find a good halfway house. But I'm also a person that believes that you can get, you know, you can get sober or you can start using. You know, if somebody wants to use, they're going to use, you know. And I can't keep somebody sober and I can't get them drunk. And, they have to do it on their own. They have to want it on their own. And I've seen people that have stayed sober in some of the worst conditions imaginable. And I've seen other people start using in the most supportive environments possible. So it goes both ways, you know. But my dad paid for my rent and, you know, utilities while I was there at the apartment, and the food, and like a carton of cigarettes a week. And that was a stretch. He did not want to buy the cigarettes. And I remember I, like, came back to my apartment that first night I got out of treatment. So the moral of this is that my bottom that I picked was fear of homelessness. I had a plan when I first got into treatment that I was going to sell my car because I didn't realize how bad it was damaged. It was total. I had to stop it because I said a name in here. Anyway, I had decided that when I got out of treatment, I was going to sell this car that I didn't realize was, you know, a piece of junk. And that I was going to go get my friend, and she and I were going to move to LA on whatever money we got off the car, and you were never going to hear from me again. And I was basically a big F you to everybody that couldn't be bothered with me and didn't know me. You know, I still had this huge chip on my shoulder. Well, I was humbled real quick. And I think I even may have, like, reached out to some people and said, can I get out of here? Can I come and stay? You know, I was in the middle of basically a blizzard too, okay, while I was in treatment because it was really bad winter. And I remember I called up some people. I think I called up some people at the beginning, and I said, like, the first 2 days, and I was like, can I come stay at your house? And they were all like, no, you know, like, your dad called us, like, he's really worried about you. And if it wasn't for that, and my dad really, I knew he meant it. I mean, to this day, I knew he meant it, that he would have been done. And he would be done today, even. I mean, I know 25 years later, if I picked up, he would be done. And that fear of, I knew that I was going to have no money, no education, no job skills whatsoever. I couldn't go to my mom's, I couldn't go to my dad's. I had no family anymore. None of my friends wanted to be responsible for me. I had no way to take care of myself. And basically every connection that I had as a drug dealer, I owed money when I got sober, okay? I'm sure a lot of people have been there. So I was screwed. I knew I had to do what I had to do to get everybody off my back. And I will tell you, this is why I'm not a believer that, like, you have to have this true desire to stay clean and sober. I just don't believe that, okay? You know, I believe that you can bring a horse to water and it'll stay at the pond for a while. I really do. And I just put one foot in front of the other. First of all, I was so cloudy-headed forever, you know? But I put one foot in front of the other for a long time just because I didn't know. I was like 3-6 months. I'll just do this long enough until I get everybody off my back, and then I'll start using again, you know? Because I really believed, like, see, I don't have a problem using. You have a problem with me using. That's your problem, right? But now, your problem with me using has affected me because I can't get you to financially take care of me anymore. I can't, you know, I can't use you for what I want to use. It's just, that's what I was. And something changed in me, you know? I can remember, you know, I started working that May. And 25 years ago this month, I started working in treatment. And I remember after the end of my first 2 weeks, I got my first paycheck. And I remember it was I think it was $4.12, I think it was. And I was like, I could make that in an hour dealing, you know? But it felt so good. And, you know, for years, my dad had said things to me about, like, you know, because my dad came from a real poor background. You know, he'd be like, when you first start earning some honest money, you know, stuff will mean differently to you. And I can remember I started earning some honest money, and it was different. And it looked different to me. It felt different to me, you know? And I cared about things, you know? I cared about, like, well, this is what I was going to say. When I first got out of treatment, I've shared this story on here before, but when I first got out of treatment, you know, like, I came back to my apartment, and my dad had it professionally cleaned. It was a mess. It was gross. And he had, like, had it professionally cleaned, like, the carpet was, like, steam vac, and, you know, he had my winter coat professionally cleaned, and all this kind of stuff, and he bought me a new coffee maker, I remember. Like, my refrigerator was stocked with all of these, like, juices, and I had, like, fresh, you know, like, turkey and fresh ham and potato salad and all this stuff, you know? It was like, I remember, I love that Jerky's mustard, and I remember my dad got me some of that Jerky's mustard, and, you know, I had chips and just like bars of cheese, because he knew my dad used to cut up, like, cheese with pretzels, you know, like he would, the pepper jack cheese. And, you know, I remember he got me all that stuff, and I started taking pride in having a home that was clean, and I started taking pride in just being a human being. And I hadn't been for quite some time, you know. I'd really lost any kind of respect for anybody or in my life, you know. I would have used anybody for anything, but mostly I'd completely lost respect for myself, and I think I had completely given up on myself. That's why, to anybody out there who is done and can't do it anymore and has completely given up on themselves, don't give up. I mean, you don't know what your life could look like down the road. You have no idea, you know? Things can change so quick. You know, one day, I'm wrecking a car, wasted beyond my wildest dreams. I can't even believe it, you know? Worst nightmare. And 6 months later, I'm standing in the parking lot of the same treatment program I got admitted to that night, holding a 6-month coin, thinking to myself, I haven't done anything consistently in my life for 6 months, let alone stay sober. I couldn't even remember the last time. At that point, I was coming up on 23 years old, and I hadn't gone probably a week sober since I had been 12 years old. Think about that, you know? And I'd have all these old men say to me when I first got sober, oh, I've spilled more alcohol than you drank in your life. And I thought, well, you don't really know, do you? I've had it pretty bad, on top of everything else that I put in my system. So I'm real grateful for my life today, you know? I'm real grateful for the squirrel table. And I know it seems corny probably to some people out there, and you know, like, I loved that people responded so kindly and gently to me talking about Mrs. Birdie, because see, that's the stuff I didn't care about 25 years ago. I always say this about my addiction, that when I was actively using, it was like I was going down the road, okay? Like, let's say I'm going out west, right? You know, the mountains in the distance and whatever. And I'm going, and there's desert on either side of me, and, you know, woods and stuff. And I'm going down the road, and I veer off the road, and that's when I start using, right? And 12 years later, I got back on the road. But I didn't get back on at the exact same spot that I got off. I got off down the road. So a lot of people had gone on and graduated college and gotten married, or, you know, done things, moved away. Like, the road had changed. It didn't look, I wasn't in the same spot that I was 12 years before. Like, a lot had changed, right? And I had missed a lot along the road. But I was still on the same road. I don't know that the person that I was back then, had I not been an addict and an alcoholic, would have had the capacity for understanding the gratitude for things like squirrel tables, Mrs. Birdie, the simplicity of Boo Radley running through the yard, or just, you know, sleeping real heavy next to me in the bed, or Tucker pushing across his new toy on the floor today, you know, with his nose, or, you know, sitting there in bed laughing with my husband late at night while he plays his game, you know, or, like, I'm just looking at these, like, leaves kind of, like, rippling in the wind a little bit, you know, it's like, or a good Diet Coke, or laughing with a friend, or crying with a friend. You know, I don't know that I would have had the capacity to really understand like what that would have meant to me. I don't know who I would have been, you know, had I not got sober. So I think I was on the road that I was supposed to go on, but I'm grateful for it today, you know? I think to some degree, part of the reason why I really like Schitt's Creek was because I kind of think I kind of relate to that story a little bit. You know, there was a part of me that was that spoiled brat snot, you know, that really had my focus on things that did not matter, you know? Like I always say, we all like nice things, you know? It's okay. And how we define that to each of us is different, you know? Maybe somebody likes a nice pair of shoes. Maybe somebody likes a nice car. You know, maybe somebody likes this. Maybe somebody likes that. It's all, you know, perspective, right? But to have that stripped away and still be okay to appreciate nice things. Say, I still want to have nice things. I can have nice things, right? But to strip that away and realize what's really important in life, I think it's a true journey, you know? I've had conversations with recovery friends of mine that I would trade every pair of shoes that I had for, you know? I'm so blessed for this life of recovery that I have today. I don't know why I got talking about this. Is kind of like crazy how it's like going all over the place, isn't it, today? One thing to the next to the next. I've been meaning to trim my beard for about 4 days. And although it takes me 5 minutes to do, I just really don't want to do it. Because sometimes I mess up the line. Oh well. I'm not going to be going to bed early tonight. I was hoping that I would. But now it's worse because I didn't get a nap. And see, now I'm wide awake. I was just going to tell you something, and now I can't remember what I was going to tell you. I filmed 2 drama videos today, a Peterisms video, a review video, and I wanted to do my booktube video, but by that point it was way too late, and I was like, it's stupid to try to film it this late now. What's the point, you know? Did I tell you that what I bought? Oh, I don't think I did. So I got on Amazon today. They're out of our dog food, which is a problem. So I'm gonna have to figure out where we're gonna get our dog food from. But we have like 15 days left of dog food. So by then, we could probably go in somewhere. Tanya said she went to Meijer tonight. Shit, it wasn't too bad. Tomorrow, you guys, oh my God. Well, officially as of now, but tomorrow I can drive wherever I want. I think it was as of midnight. Because like some of the stores open to, well, I like was just reading it before I got on here. So anyway, on Amazon, I ordered a real cheap lip gloss. I can't remember what brand it was I ordered. It was like $5. I don't know what it was. Maybe like a Revlon or something like that. And then I ordered the pink citron poopery. It smells like fantastic air freshener. I love it. Well, it smells like cotton candy kind of, but like an upscale cotton candy. I don't know how to explain it. And then I bought this like corn stuff for the squirrels. It's specifically made for squirrels and birds. Not specifically made, but it's like corn on the cob, and they like, you know, take it and dry it, and then they cut it up into little pieces. So I got that from my squirrel friends out there. But I was reading this article. Where is it? Here it is. Why is it not wanting to open this? Indianapolis mayor outlines plan to begin reopening starting Friday. Indianapolis will implement portions of the state's Phase 2 reopening plan on Friday, easing restrictions on public gatherings, religious services, and non-essential retail outlets as Marion County cautiously begins a slow return to normal. Okay. Starting Friday, public gatherings and religious services can increase from 10 to 25 people. Non-essential retail outlets, including liquor stores, can open at 50% capacity. Which, had I known that, I would have waited. And our Ulta is always dead. And I've been waiting to get lip gloss. These are really nothing that I really need. But I was waiting to get lip gloss and that poopery. And the Ulta by me is like always empty. I would have just gone tomorrow. Libraries can reopen Monday for the curbside pickup of books. Starting Friday, May 22nd, in-person dining will be permitted for outdoor seating with social distancing measures and personal protective equipment for employees. The city will work to expand right-of-ways and potentially close roads to allow for greater outdoor access. They're going to close roads so people can eat outside. Or, probably like in Broad Ripple or something like that. This way we can not only provide greater opportunity for business success, but also provide a greater buffer in order to comply with the social distancing orders. I guess it's not a bad idea. Mayor Joe Hogsett said in a virtual press announcement on Wednesday. Delays in lifting restrictions. But unlike elsewhere in the state, Indianapolis will restrict certain portions of the state's Phase 2 reopening plan. Indoor, in-person dining will not be permitted. Non-essential industrial, and people are going to not be happy about it. I'm not in any way ready to go into inside no restaurant, but any restaurant. But I know people that I know are. Non-essential industrial and manufacturing businesses must remain closed, as well as I don't know what that means. Non-essential industrial and manufacturing businesses. I don't know what that means. Must remain closed, as well as personal services such as hair and nail salons. Which is interesting because nail and hair salons in Hamilton County, which is where my hair salon is, reopened last Monday, I think. By the way, I got a hair appointment May 24th. Hello. I'm not complaining though. I literally, like, that does kind of look like the guy from the Hunger Games, doesn't it? Or the Who's. All the Who's down in Whoville. That's who I was thinking of. Okay. The county is targeting June 1st as the opening date for those groups and aiming to allow indoor restaurant eating with 50% capacity on that day. So June 1st is when like nail and hair salons are opening in Indianapolis. I know that these delays will be frustrating to some, but I assure you that we are making these decisions, okay, in our reduce the prevalence of COVID-19 in our community now, but also reduce the likelihood that it returns in the future. Officials once again, okay, that makes me happy though. Officials once again said that they seek to educate businesses on reopening requirements and restrictions rather than issue punitive measures, but the county health department may take action in extreme situations. Residents wishing to report, okay, my battery's going down, so I just want to make sure that I keep an eye on it. Marion County's stay-at-home order ends on Friday. The county is returning to normal at a slow, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't put it back in place. The county is returning to normal at a slower pace than most of Indiana, which entered phase 2 earlier, allowing restaurants to open at 50% capacity and salons to open by appointment beginning May 11th. So I guess it was this last week. The announcement comes after the Marion County Health Department tracked a decrease in certain data points for at least 14 days, including a decline in deaths, coronavirus hospitalizations, the percentage of, okay, that's good. If the data shows any upticks, the county will make adjustments accordingly. So that means he could put us like back on a stay-at-home order. Oh, this is interesting. Marion County is not yet releasing exact dates for the future phases of the state's 5-stage reopening plan. So we're on a different Indianapolis, which this is what's so difficult, okay? So like, we're literally, where I'm sitting right now, I am in Indianapolis. I am in Marion County, okay? 5 miles north of here, like 5 minutes, probably 3 to 5 minutes north of where I'm at right now, is Hamilton County, okay? Which is like Carmel, Noblesville, all this kind of stuff, right? So literally 5 minutes from where I am, people are on completely different phases than we are. Like Tanya, she lives in, you know, different counties, so she can do whatever. She can't do whatever, but she's not doing anything anyway. She's like me. Okay, and then it goes in, if your business, wait. Oh, phase 3 of the state's reopening plans allows gyms to open with restrictions, while retail stores can open at 75% capacity with social distancing. The 5-phase plan seeks a return to normal business operations by July 4th. So stage 3 is beginning May 24th. I don't know if my gym is considered Hamilton County or... It's considered Indianapolis. It's on like one side of the road. That's Indianapolis. On the other side, it's Fishers, which is interesting to me. Anyway. Oh, by the way, I just want to give a little shout out if you made it this far in the video. My good Judy, hey lady, my good Judy Tanner Kearns, who I've known for a couple years now. I'm so proud of him. This has been a video, much in the making. Tanner Kearns finally posted a coming out video today. And if you watch it, it makes a lot of sense why he's posting it now, and he's waited. And I'm so proud of him, and I'm so happy for him. And I was texting with him, and he said he feels like he has a huge weight lifted off his shoulders, and Tanner's just one of the neatest guys. And has always been so supportive of my channels, and is so happy now and doing really well in school and living with his boyfriend, and he's just so incredibly happy, and I'm so happy for him. I'm gonna go link his channel below. Please go check out Tanner Kearns. It's Tanner, in case I forget to. Link his channel. It's Tanner, Kerns. Go check out his coming out video. I think it's really, it's not anything like my story, but I think it explains why a lot of people don't come out, because they're afraid of losing what they have. And, you know, he took some risks by sharing this story, and I'm very, very proud of him, and I'm proud to call him a friend. He's just, I'm so happy for him. And he also does a lot of videos on his channel. I know a lot of people over, because I've shouted him out before, actually watch him over there, because like when I read the comments on his videos, I'll see people like Adriana, she's over there commenting on his videos. But like, he does a lot of like decorating stuff. He makes cakes. He's like don't know how we became friends. He's so interested in all this like house making stuff that I'm like not interested in at all. But his videos are fun. He has real hilarious sense of humor, and he came out with merch, and it says, hey, because he says to everybody in his videos, he'll say, hey ladies, and he calls everybody lady. Like when I call him, I'll be like, hey, he'll be like, hey lady. So anyway, he has t-shirts that are merch. They're pink, and his friend Gabe made the logo, and it says hey ladies on it. He sent me one, this really nice card, and he's just, anyway, he's just such a sweet guy. So go check out. Oh, my battery's gonna die. Hold on a second. I'm getting ready to close out this video, but I had to say that, or I had to change my battery or it would have cut me off. But anyway, I heard like, when I was changing the battery, I hear like the weirdest thing. It's like a vacuum noise. And I was like rolling up my window, and I see there, I hear it. I don't know what it is. It's the weirdest sound. Maybe I don't have the thing on anymore, do I? Oh yeah, I do still have, maybe it's the vented seat, I don't know. But anyway, go check out Tanner Kern's channel, and I hope I remember to link it below, and go subscribe to his channel. And Tanner was also somebody that was really implemental when they changed the rules for partnership and monetization, and he started speaking out for smaller creators, and he was like really big and talking about smaller creators and the importance of smaller creators and stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool. So, and you know, there's been many times that he has texted me or called me and said, I'm quitting YouTube, there's no point. And I'm like, you gotta keep on making videos. You love making videos. People love your videos. Keep on making videos. And he hasn't quit, and I'm so happy for him. And I know this is a video that he's really, really wanted to make and just hasn't felt comfortable doing it until now, and so I'm so happy for him. So anyway, go check out Tanner Kern's channel. I will link it below, and please subscribe to his channel and go check out his coming out story. It's very cool. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now, and if you made it to this point of the video, please put a blue heart in the comment section below for the OG Wolf Pack, or for anybody new over there. If you're new, hey. And please give this video a thumbs up, a big thumbs up. You can only give one, but the power of two. Give it a thumbs up. It really does make a difference to me. And my shirt is like all over the place. And also make sure that you're still subscribed to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Make sure that you're subscribed to all of my channels. I would appreciate it. And make sure that you have the notification bell turned on as well. Ding! Ding! And yeah, and I hope you guys are having, I can't believe it's Friday again already. Friday, and I get to drive around. Should we drive around a little bit tomorrow? Like now, I'm like, I'm gonna miss the driveway, but I probably will. I'll drive around a little bit tomorrow. Maybe I'll mix it up a little bit tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your Friday. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Start some new show this weekend that you can binge watch the whole weekend. And do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow, or the next day, or next week, or next month, or next year, or 10 years, or 60 years, or 69 years from now. I'm changing my outro. This is it. I'm changing it up. Starting tomorrow, I'm changing it up. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day, and you do at least one positive affirmation with that, and you say, I love you and you are valuable. And when you wake up in the morning, say, I love you and you are valuable, or you matter, or just some positive affirmation that you need to hear. And before you go to bed every night, tell yourself, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm gonna have such a great day tomorrow. I'm gonna be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. I'm gonna laugh and have great experiences, and great opportunities are gonna come my way. And if I choose, and if I get off track, I can choose to start my day over whenever I want. And tomorrow when you wake up, say to yourself, today's gonna be an amazing day. I'm gonna be happy, joyous, and free all day today. And today's gonna be full of laughter and positivity, and put positivity out there in the world, of course, why wouldn't you? And laughter, and more positivity, and more laughter, and more positivity, and more laughter. And if my day gets off track, and opportunities and success, right? And fun things. And if my day gets off track, I can choose to start my day over whenever I want. And Also, make sure to reach out to somebody. This is most important. Most importantly, make sure to reach out to somebody. It's so hot in here. I don't know what is going on. The climate is off, it says. Anyway, make sure that you reach out to somebody. Oh, it just came on, and now it's, what is going on? Now my windshield is frosting up. Oh, God. I have it on 679. Okay. Make sure that, I gotta get off this. I gotta get off and roll down the windows. I guess I don't have to wait to roll down my windows, but anyway. Most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Say, hey, I just want to let you know you really mean the world to me, and I care about you and thank you for being in my life. Or just call up a good Judy and be like, hey, what's up, good Judy? I was just thinking of you. That makes people's days too, right? And I love getting calls from my friends, just being like, hey, just call and see what's going on. That's why I call my cousin every day at 4:30. Some days she answers and some days she doesn't. I told her, I said, should I stop calling you now that the stay-at-home order's over? She's like, no, keep calling, keep calling. I said, okay, I will. So anyway, and make sure that you practice random acts of kindness, and you know, just put some good out there in the world, put some positivity out in the world, do something nice for somebody. It's just, you know, even if it's just a little squirrel friend or a bird friend or whatever, just do something nice for somebody out there, something, you know, put some good out there in the world, some positivity. It'll make you feel better, trust me. Even if it doesn't accomplish anything else, it'll make you feel better, right? Even if nobody else even notices, it'll make you feel better inside. And I think the more good we put out there, the better we feel, you know. And thank you guys for watching. I love you so much. And I know this vlog was all over the place tonight, but I had fun. I had fun doing it. So anyway, do any of you watch it till the very last second that I reach over and turn it off? I love you guys. I hope so. I hope you do. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. For those that stay till the very last second, this one's for you. I love you. Bye. Love ya.